Joining us now from the Pentagon on this Memorial Day is Admiral Mike Mullen, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who's retiring this fall after 4 years as America's top man in uniform. Admiral, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, it's good to be with you.
I want to start by asking you, we heard Mandy talk about what's happening in Afghanistan right now. I'd like to start by talking to you about Pakistan, because we're seeing these reports that Pakistan says they're launching a targeted military offensive in North Waziristan, as you know, a safe haven for militants and al-Qaeda at times. What do you expect from this?
Well, actually, that's probably the most challenging area in Pakistan and on that Pakistan-Afghanistan border. So I'm encouraged to hear that they're doing that. The Pakistani military has actually been in a very tough fight in that part of their country for a significant period of time. And while we're going through a very difficult patch right now, we should never forget the sacrifices of the Pakistani military. They've lost thousands of their soldiers, thousands of their civilians. So it's a very, very tough fight, and it's a very important fight and a very important operation.
Admiral, I want to talk more broadly now about our military at large. And I read a poignant speech that you gave at West Point this month, where you talked about the disconnect between our civilians and our military. You said, quote, "I fear they do not know us. I fear they don't comprehend the full weight," talking about civilians that is, "of the burden we carry or the price we pay when we return to battle." If that disconnect is there, how do we make it better?
Well, I speak to this in terms of it being a two-way street. One of the reasons that I speak out on it is because I've seen it as I've traveled throughout the country. I've been very encouraged in recent years by the incredibly positive support of the American people for our men and women in uniform in these very, very difficult fights. At the same time, I think there's a lack of knowledge in terms of the depth of what we've been through, the numbers of deployments, the stresses on our families, the wounds that they're suffering, visible and invisible. They're extraordinary young men and women who've made such a difference, who've gone off to war and done exactly what we have asked them to do. And so I just think we have to continue to work to make sure we're connected. It's less than, the military comes from less than 1% of the population. They come from fewer and fewer places throughout the country. And if we let this continue, at some point in time, we're going to wake up and we'll find out that we are disconnected. So I think it's very important to give this voice and to focus on it and actively make sure we're connected and that we understand each other.
Admiral, we mentioned that you're leaving. Does a change of guard mean a change of strategy in Afghanistan? A year from now, where is Afghanistan at?
Well, actually, I think from an overall strategy standpoint, we have obviously added these additional troops over the course of the last year. General Petraeus and others have focused on this comprehensive strategy, and we've really seen progress on the security side. And I think it's a very difficult fighting season right now. This will be a very tough year. We will sustain losses as we have just in the last few days, and every single one of those is a tragic, tragic loss. That said, I am confident by the end of the year that we'll be in a much better position, and I think be able to see much more clearly the longer-term potential for a positive outcome.
Admiral Mike Mullen, we thank you for your time this morning, and by the way, on this Memorial Day, sir, we thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.